So for projectile, there are few things which we have to understand, like a prerequisite. Okay, so let us start them first. So basically, what is a projectile? First of all, a projectile is like when an object is projected at a certain angle, okay, with a certain velocity. It goes like this, like a missile, or when a tank fires a bomb, okay, a shell. Okay, so you might have seen, at least in movies, this thing. Okay, that there's a tank over here. Have you seen any war movies where you have
Yes.
tank? Okay, so that motion is a projectile. Okay, you have to connect these things with a real life example so that it will be easy for you to understand. So that is a projectile where a shell is projected at a certain velocity at an angle so that it reaches exactly the place where the enemies are situated or where you want it to land. Okay, so basically every motion, even the motion of a bullet, let's say if a person is firing a gun, okay, assume it is a gun, okay. So if a person is firing a gun and bullet comes out of it, have you ever thought that bullet, let's say if it is not hitting anyone throughout the path, where shall it go? Will it just keep on going straight like this?
No, it
It
will
will
fall.
it will fall for sure. So it will fall like this because of the gravity, it will fall. Okay, so this is also like an example of a projectile only. So projectile is a combination of two different motions. Okay, two different motion. One will be a linear motion. Whatever you would like to write, like you should be having some notebook and pen. So please make notes along with whatever I'm saying now. Whatever you want to write, you can write the bullet points. So your understanding will be better. Okay, so it is a combination of linear motion. You understand what is linear?
Straight.
Very good. Straight plus motion under gravity. Motion under gravity. Now, what is this motion under gravity?
Is it when gravity pulls an object down while
Yeah.
it's linear, it just bends
Okay.
towards gravity setting?
So I can say that broadly, this linear motion is a horizontal motion. Like when we walk on the road or when we drive on the road, all these are horizontal motion. And motion under gravity is rather a vertical motion, whether it is going up or coming down. In both the ways, it will be a vertical motion. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So when I combine these two motions, now how they will be combined? So let's say from here to here, there is a horizontal motion plus vertical motion. You just throw any body upwards, it will go up to a certain height, then it will come down. This is what we usually do. Okay, so that will be a vertical motion. Now just logically think about both the cases together. This is a motion in x direction and this is a motion in y direction. All these words what I'm using, they are intentional, they are leading us towards a conclusion. If x and y is combined together, it will move ahead as well as it will go up, like a batsman hitting a six. Do you watch cricket?
Yeah.
Okay, which team is your favorite?
I don't watch cricket as like normally. I just understand like what's going on. If I
Okay,
see it, I'm like, oh, okay.
okay. So it's just on the TV, so you have to watch it. Is it like that?
Yeah.
Okay. You have brother?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So the point is that when a batsman is hitting a shot, okay, like batsman want to hit a six. So what are the two things he has to make sure? That the ball should travel the distance so that it can go beyond the boundary, and it should go at a particular height so that no one can catch it. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so a body or a ball will move forward as well as it will move up. This is how the ball goes when a batsman hits a six. So when these two are combined together, we get a projectile motion. Okay, now in projectile motion, what are we doing? We are combining X motion and Y motion. We are combining horizontal and vertical. So that's why we can call it as a 2D motion. Projectile is an example of a two-dimensional motion because it is moving in a plane. Literally, there are two things happening simultaneously. Okay, so this is the base of a projectile. Is this clear?
Yes.
Now there are few prerequisites for horizontal and vertical. Like for a projectile, there are few characteristics of horizontal motion and vertical motion. We are going to go deeper into that now. Okay, so for a projectile, now how we will draw a projectile? So there is a body, which is projected at a velocity of u, and it is projected at a certain angle. There should be an angle, that then only it will go to a height. Okay, if there is no angle, then it will just go horizontally. Okay, and if it is a 90-degree angle, then it will just go up only. But if it is an angle between 0 to 90 degree, then definitely it will move forward as well as it will go up. So that is called as the trajectory. Okay, point number 1, trajectory of projectile is a parabola. What is a parabola?
It's the curve.
It's a curve. Okay, it's a quadratic equation, to be very easy, to be very simple. Okay, like in a very simple words, what is a parabola? If you want, you can write this thing. It's a quadratic. You know what is quadratic?
Yes.
Okay. So trajectory of a projectile is parabolic trajectory. Okay, this path is a parabola. Now, before projectile, there was a concept of vectors. So in vectors, there was like components of vectors, horizontal component and vertical component. Are you aware about them?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me that how do we write horizontal and vertical component of a vector? Like if it is a vector, okay, vector A, which is at an angle theta. So what will be the horizontal component of this vector?
So for horizontal, it will be. Wait, I don't think I know that.
Okay. What is the component of a vector? Component means a part. Okay. Like for example, when I talk about human, so human body have 4 limbs. So these are the components, a body part. Similarly, when I talk about a vector, so vector will have 2 parts in general. The first one will be a cos theta along the x-axis, and the other one will be a sin theta. This is not a part of projectile. This is a part of vectors, which is used in projectile. And it is like a part of very beginning when physics is just started. Okay, so a vector is written in this form: a cos theta I cap plus a sin theta j cap. Have you ever seen these I cap, j cap notations before?
No.
Okay. Have they taught you vectors earlier?
Yeah, they did. I just forgot the equation.
Okay. So they didn't told this I cap, j cap thing?
No.
Okay, what
Does
are
it have?
vectors? According to you, what are vectors? What do you know about it?
It's component which shows both direction and magnitude.
Okay, so that is fine. I can pick up magnitude and direction from what you said. Okay, anything which has these 2 things will be a vector. Okay, now if I have just written 5, 5 is just a number. Can I say it is just a magnitude? Okay,
Yes.
but when I have to say that it is 5 km/h in the x-axis, so I cannot write every time the whole thing. Instead, what I will do, I will place a unit vector along the x-axis, which is I cap. So now phi I cap represent a vector. You can write this as well. Okay, a vector in x direction. I have specified the direction also with magnitude phi. This phi can be anything because I'm not writing the unit. 5 km/h or 5 m/s, whatever. Okay. So I cap, what is I cap? I cap is a unit vector in x direction. What are unit vectors? So a simple example I'll give you of a unit vector. Let's say right now you are a student. Okay. And I'm teaching you this topic. Now, I will be teaching you by keeping certain things in my mind that, okay, you are of year 12, you might be knowing this up to year 11, all those things. Okay. So what I will be having that, yeah, this girl has a potential. Okay. Try to understand it in a real perspective, then you will understand this. Okay. That this girl has a potential. If this potential is propagated in a particular direction, then she will succeed for sure. Is it?
Yes.
Like you are smart, but you don't know how to deal with the subject. You don't know how to do a particular thing in a proper manner. Then you will not be able to capitalize on it. Are you? There are many
Yes.
people around us who are very smart, very intelligent, still they are not successful. What's the reason? Because they lack direction. It is often you will hear people saying this thing, that my life is going in I don't know which direction. Okay, it is pointless, it is directionless. Okay, so exactly this thing is being done by a unit vector for anything which we see on over here. Okay, so what is a unit vector? Unit vector is a direction provider. Direction provider. Direction provider is not a proper definition, it is for our understanding. Okay, you'll not find this thing in book anywhere. So unit vector in x direction is just a symbol which will ensure that along with phi, if I write I cap, now everyone in the world will be sure that yeah, you have written a vector in the x direction with magnitude phi. So it is like a standard.
Mhm.
Okay. Similarly, the same thing is for j cap. So j cap is a unit vector in y direction. Like I was giving you an example, no, that you have potential, but let's say you just need a direction. So direction will be provided to you by a mentor. Like the work which I am doing, I'm giving you the direction only. If you will be succeeding tomorrow, okay, if you will become successful tomorrow, you may think that it is all because of you. I have gained those marks and whatever. Okay, but according to me, there's nothing like that. It will be because of your potential only. I'm just giving you the direction so that you can reach to that. Is that clear? So that is exactly what unit vector does. Okay, so what is j cap? J cap is a unit vector in y direction. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so a cos theta and a sin theta are the components of a vector in respective x and y directions. So that is how in a projectile the velocities are broken down. Now why we are doing this? Because we have to do it in projectile. Okay, is there anything you're writing from the screen?
No, I'm done writing.
Okay, now velocity, this u is a velocity and velocity is a vector. Okay, so I can break down this velocity into two components. One will be along the x as u cos theta. I'm not writing it in the vector form. That's why I'm not writing I cap. But you can see that in the horizontal direction means it is in the x direction only. And u sin theta will be in the vertical direction. When these two velocities are acted in perpendicular directions, then the resultant will go in this direction and that will bring the body on the other side along the projectile motion, parabolic trajectory. Is that clear?
Yes.
So can I write down over here that u cos theta is the horizontal component? Okay, it is a horizontal component. What else? Responsible for horizontal motion. Okay. Similarly, if I write u sin theta is a vertical component and it is responsible for vertical motion. Till here, do you have any question or any doubt?
No.
Everything is clear till here?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there are a few more facts about projectile which we need to cover before moving towards the exact formulas. So I'll take this diagram once again. As discussed that this projectile is what? This is a combination of two motions, horizontal and vertical motion. Okay. Now you should understand that horizontal motion will be a uniform motion. This is a very important point. Uniform motion. Uniform motion means there is no acceleration over here. Okay. So in the horizontal direction, you will be using only this formula. Speed is equal to distance upon time, like the one which we used to do in lower grades. Okay. Do you know this formula?
Yes.
Okay. So this formula is applied only when there is a uniform motion. If it is an accelerated motion, then for that we use SUVAT equations. Okay, so vertical motion is accelerated motion and rather it is motion under gravity. Okay, it is motion under gravity. Motion under gravity will be dealt using SUAT equations. Now, what are these SUAT equations? Any idea?
Yes. So
Okay.
there are 4 equations for SUVAT. So V will equal to U plus AT,
Okay, very good. Then,
and V square will equal to U square plus 2AS,
correct.
and S will equal to U plus V divided by 2T.
Okay, great.
And the last one is S will equal to UT plus half AT square.
Very good. So all this you have remembered, or like you were reading it from somewhere?
No, I have it, but I have my equation sheet next to me at the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah, great. So that doesn't matter. Okay, you should know what are SUAT equation and you should know the application part. That is more important. Okay. So whatever formulas of projectile we will be deriving now, they will be all based on what? SUAT.
Um,
Okay. Why SUAT equations? Because vertical motion is an accelerated motion and SUAT equations are applicable only for uniform acceleration. Uniform acceleration. Clear?
yes.
Once again, we will take the same diagram and the first equation we are going to derive now. So if you look in the figure, okay, you will get all these slides, okay? Everything will be saved. So I will be sharing this whole document in the form of PDF later. Okay, so like here you can see this is a point where it is reaching maximum. So I can see that this is the H max, maximum height of a projectile. Okay, maximum height is usually obtained when the vertical velocity is zero. Okay, what I mean to say is that when we are moving in a vertical motion, okay, like at this point. So in the vertical motion at this point, at the top, velocity is zero. Do you know that?
Yes.
Velocity is zero, that's why it will stop coming up further and it will just take a turn and come down. So the same thing is happening with a projectile. The y component of velocity will be zero and x component will be u cos theta only. Now, can you tell me that why I have written x component same at both the places? Like here also it is u cos theta, here also it is u cos. Why so?
Because the vertical velocity is always the same.
Horizontal velocity is always
I
the
mean
same.
horizontal, yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because horizontal motion is a uniform motion. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So you can see that horizontal velocity is same and we will be using this component. Like this is what? This is uy and this is ux. As per the SUAT, we use u for initial velocity, v for final velocity. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to analyze this much part of the motion. Okay, only half part of the motion. The time it takes to reach this half will be same as the time it will take to reach to travel the other half. Okay, like in a vertical motion, the time it takes to go up is same as the time it takes to come down. This is like a fact which we have to directly use it. Okay, so let us assume that the time is t over here. It is taking t time to go at the top, to reach at the top. Okay, so let me write down all the things. My initial velocity is ux, not ux, it will be uy because we are dealing in vertical direction. That will be u sine theta. My final velocity vy will be 0. Final velocity means I'm talking about this point. Okay, my time will be t. And what about the acceleration? What will be the acceleration for the vertical motion?
Or the acceleration will be 0.
Okay, look here. Vertical motion is motion under gravity and it is an accelerated motion.
Mm-hmm.
So in motion under gravity, what is the acceleration we take usually?
9.8.
Very good. It will not be 0. Okay, 0 will be in the case of horizontal motion.
Okay.
Okay, so AY, vertical motion, it will be G. Can I write G?
Yes.
G is 9.8 only. Okay, now the thing is, since it is moving up, can you see that it is going against gravity?
Against graph. Yes.
If you are sending any body upwards, if you are throwing anything up, it is going against gravity because gravity will try to pull everything towards itself. So everything should come down logically. But you are sending something up, it means it is a negative acceleration. The body will gradually stop. Look what is happening over here. It is stopping at this point. At least the y velocity is 0. So the value of acceleration will be negative g. Think over it. If you have any doubt in understanding this, you can ask again.
So negative g only comes when it reaches its maximum height and it's going down.
It is throughout. Negative g is throughout. It is an acceleration for the upward motion.
Upward only. So the
Okay.
downward will be positive g.
Positive g, exactly. Okay, you take it in this way that if you're going against gravity, your motion will be a decelerating motion. Okay, throw any ball upwards, it stops. No? At a certain level, it will stop and then it will come down. So it is like a decreasing velocity. As it is going up and up and up, velocity is getting decreased. Can you visualize that situation?
Yes.
So if it is a decreasing velocity, means acceleration will be negative. Okay, and it is motion under gravity, so it is negative g. Is it clear?
Yes.
Till here, any question you have?
No.
Okay. Now we have to find the time it is taking to go up till there. Okay. So I have all these things. Can you tell me which of the SOVAT equation will be appropriate to use in this case?
Mhm.
So that itself is like one of the, you can say, a skill that you should know which SOVAT equation needs to be used when. Okay.
Mhm.
Like you have all the weapons. Okay. So you should know now which weapon you have to use when. You cannot randomly use anything. Okay. If you want to cut a vegetable, can you cut it with a sword? No. Okay. You have sword and you have a knife. So you have to use knife to cut a vegetable.
Mhm.
Clear? So it is as similar to that. So we are going to use V is equal to U plus 80. Why? Because if you look at all the things, this is exactly we have UV 80. Can you see
Mhm.
that?
Yes.
So V is Vy, U is Uy, A is G, to be precise, negative G, and T. I have to find time. Okay. So Vy is 0. Uy is U sine theta minus GT. GT will be equal to U sine theta and the value of T will be U sine theta by G. Why we are doing all these steps? Because these will be used in solving question. There will be very less question where you can directly use the formula and get the answer. Okay. This usually will happen very rarely. So you need to know these steps, how we are applying the values. Now this time is U sine theta by G. I told you initially that this is just half of the time. So total time of flight, capital T, time of flight means the total time projectile is taking in the motion. Okay, so the total time of flight will be equal to 2u sine theta by G. Have a look at the value, have a look at the calculation. If there is any question you have anywhere, you can ask.
No, there's.
Everything is clear?
Yes.
So this capital T is called as time of flight. Okay, time of flight means the total time body is traveling in this parabolic path. This is the first formula which we should know for a projectile. Clear?
Yes.
Now the next formula which we have to do is for Hmax, maximum height. So Hmax is rather a vertical displacement. Can I say that?
Yes.
Now what all things we have, let us visualize, okay, and we'll decide the formula to be used. I need to find Hmax. Hmax is basically displacement in y direction. Okay, I know that this velocity is 0 and yeah. So if I need to find Hmax, which equation out of those SOVAT I should use?
S will equal to half GT squared.
Yeah, we can use that, or we can use that equation also. V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. Why am I emphasizing on this? Because this Vy is 0. You can get answer from the previous one also. Okay. But since Vy is 0, you can get it in a much easier way from here. Vy is 0. Uy is U sine theta whole squared minus 2g Hmax. 2g Hmax goes on the other side is equal to U square sine square theta and that will finally give me h max is equal to u square sine square theta by 2g. Okay, have a look at the calculation. This calculation should be clear.
Mhm. Okay, yes. So the initial velocity, which is u, will
Yes,
be uy.
yes.
Okay, yes, because
We are
sine.
talking
Okay.
about vertical motion only. That's why we are taking uy. Till
Mhm.
now, we haven't used ux.
Mhm.
Okay, but in the upcoming time, it is time to use ux. Okay, why? Because now we are going to find the horizontal range, that horizontally how much it is traveling. Now, initially I told you that horizontal motion is a uniform motion. So horizontal range is same as the horizontal distance it has traveled. Okay.
Yes.
So the next formula which we are going to use over here is for horizontal range. Okay. Um, horizontal range denoted by capital R. It is same as this distance as per the graph. This distance. Okay. This we are going to find now. So since it is a horizontal range, the velocity or the speed which we are going to use will be ux, that is u cos theta, and the time which we will be using is the time of flight, capital T, that will be 2u sine theta by g. We have solved it just before only. Okay, so 2u sine theta by g will be the total time, and u cos theta is the speed in x direction. Why am I writing these two? Because I know that speed is equal to distance over time. So from here, I can write distance is equal to speed times time. Is that clear?
Yes.
Distance is equal to speed times time. Okay. Now, what is the distance over here? Like it will be range. Speed is how much? U cos theta. Time is how much? 2u sine theta by g. So that is exactly my range is 2u square sine theta cos theta by g. None of the formulas you need to remember, but just try to understand the steps how we are getting to these formulas. They will be helpful in solving questions. Okay. So basically we are done with all the conceptual part of projectile. There is nothing else left as a concept. Now there are only questions which you need to practice so that how to apply these, it will be clear. Okay.
Yes.
So overall, whatever we have done, is there any doubt anywhere?